Good evening, friends. Thank you for tuning in to episode 15 of the vlog series. I can't even believe that we are at 15 episodes. That's crazy. Just finished editing and uploading episode 14, so I'm going right into the next episode. I started getting into the habit of taking a very long break in between vlogs, and I noticed that just like my motivation, my productivity has just like plummeted. Filming these vlogs really helps me stay on track with the things that I need to get done. And that's not because I want to save everything to be content for the vlog necessarily. It's mostly just to keep me in check, keep me accountable for the things that I need to get done. Side note, for those of you with long hair, like really long hair, what products do you use to like keep it from not getting tangly? That is the biggest struggle that I have right now, having really long hair, is it just is always getting tangly no matter what I do. I will say I do use a very cheap shampoo and conditioner. I really could be doing better in that department, but let me know down below if there are any specific products for anything regarding long hair that you really like so that I can check it out. Just made veggie tacos for dinner tonight, and I'm about to make some stovetop applesauce. I just figured, you know, it's really cold outside, it's snowing. I freaking love a nice homemade cinnamon applesauce. Recently, Appa got really sick. I have an opportunity to really share what was going on with him, but he was going through another one of his typical Appa episodes. He does this a few times a year where he will hide his dinner or his breakfast. He will hide it in the most secret places ever. And he's really good at it because Gen, my hound dog, he would definitely be able to sniff something out. I have Gen go in and help me clean up when I'm cleaning up after them after meals to make sure every last bit is removed. Well, Appa has this really great habit of hiding meat so well that I don't see it. And it can just be like a tiny little bit. That's all that takes. He will wait for it to go rancid and then he will eat it. So don't ask me why this ferret does this, okay? We went through a whole thing with him last year, or was it 2 years ago? I don't even know, where I took him to the vet. We were gonna run a bunch of blood tests and yada, 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 because he just kept doing this, and then he kept making himself throw up because the food is bad, and then he would get a really upset stomach and lethargic because of the throwing up. So we brought him to the vet and they wanted to run all sorts of tests. Hopefully I didn't because it would have been a major waste of money. We figured out what he was doing, and so what he will do is he'll throw up, and then he's a really sensitive ferret, so if he throws up even just once, he will become very lethargic and dehydrated. Again, he does this maybe like 2 to 3 times a year. And obviously it's not ideal, but it's not the worst thing in the world. It never usually requires much of our attention. I mean, we'll make sure that he drinks a lot afterwards, make sure that he is keeping those fluids down, but other than that, he recovers pretty quickly. This past week though, this happened, and he was throwing up a good portion of the day, like on and off throughout the day, and I knew that it was because of this. So we just kept an eye on him. We syringed him fluids, made sure that he kept that down. It's tricky when a ferret is throwing up because if you give them food and water immediately, the likelihood of them throwing that back up is pretty high, and then it was pretty much a waste of your time and just more stress on the ferret. So I like to now wait until he is settled. Maybe he goes to bed for a little bit and just like rests, and then give him fluids, and that worked really well. He was refusing food for a while, so that was hard. I had to do a bunch of different things to get him to eat something, because ferrets cannot go a long time without eating anything, make him much worse very quickly. So for a couple of days, like 2 days maybe, he just had a really upset stomach. His stools were not good, but they did improve pretty quickly. Okay, so for making this homemade applesauce, super easy. You don't even really need a recipe for it. You're just gonna need apples. These are gala apples, not my favorite type of apple, but it is a sweet apple. So any sweet apple that you have on hand will do. You can even make them with more sour apples as well. I really like that kind of applesauce too, especially for my horse Iroh. I like doing that for him. But sweet apples, cinnamon, if you want to do cinnamon applesauce, and then a little bit of nutmeg I like to add in as well. And this is going to make your house smell so good. Hey there, long time no talk. I don't even remember the last time I actually pulled out the vlogging camera. I've been pet sitting all week and I started doing that again for a little bit of extra money going into summer, but there hasn't really been much going on. It is a super nice day. Again, and I went out for a really long walk. I'm very out of shape, and now I'm going to be making it not 1 but 2 loaves of the white bread recipe that I did the other day because it was so good. I'm going to try to add a little bit less sugar because it was very sweet. I mean, it was still really good, but just slightly less sugar than what I did. And this recipe does say it makes 2 loaves. When I made it, it made just 1. I mean, 1 kind of big one. I don't know how it would have turned out if I did 2. So I'm actually doing 2 now, but I'm going to double the recipe. Mother-in-law, who found this recipe, she did it the same way that I did as well. So I'm going to show you guys how I did it. I already did the first step, mixing a tablespoon, in my case I did 2 tablespoons of sugar in warm water. I did 4 cups, the recipe calls for 2 cups. And then stir in the yeast, which the recipe calls for 1 1/2 tablespoons. I doubled that, and then you wait until it makes a kind of creamy consistency, which I'm going to show you right now. This is what that mixture should look like after a couple minutes. It should look kind of like a creamy, bubbly mixture. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix in the remaining sugar that it asks for, salt and oil. It asks for 1/2 cup. I'm going to do less than that. And then for oil, it calls for vegetable oil, which I have here, and 1/4 cup, which I'm going to double. Flour in 1 cup at a time, and the dough should be tacky and it cleans the sides of the bowl, aside from a little bit at the bottom. And the amount of flour that it asks for is 5 to 6 cups. So this is going to be a lot of flour because I'm going to double it. Once you start baking, really start using a whole ton of flour. Like before, I never used flour for anything, and now I need to buy it all the time. This is 8 cups. Honestly, I don't know if I'm going to need even more than that because this is getting kind of dry. It's definitely starting to get tacky. Do this kind of a little bit at a time. I don't think I'm going to add any more flour. I might add a little bit more water. It's looking a little bit better. Don't want the dough to be too dry, or your bread is going to come out dry. Now my dough is very wet, so I'm going to add more flour to it. Then I'm going to cover the dough with a damp cloth. Allow it to rise until it doubles in size, so about an hour. As you can see, it has definitely risen and it's very nice and bouncy, a perfect bread dough. So now I'm going to punch this down, which is the best part, knead it for a little bit, and then divide it. Okay, so now I've separated them and I'm going to let them rest again for 30 minutes. You're getting in my new stuff. What are you doing? Just got a bunch of stuff from Goodwill and Hobby Lobby. Found these cheap pillowcases for decorative pillows for a couple bucks each. Got those. They're two different ones, but they kind of match. This pillow I got from Goodwill. It's got ducks on it. I don't remember how much this one is. Oh wait. $3. I really needed decorative pillows. This one is a bit ragged looking, but I liked the colors and the texture of it. This one, $3. This pillow now, I'm pretty sure I found this exact one at Home Goods, and it was $25, $26. But this one was only $3. It's not gonna zoom in, but so that's a good find. And then this pillow that I really like, it's really comfy, for $3. I guess they're all $3. And then I got this, I'm thinking for sugar for the kitchen. They each come with their own lids. Of course, the ferrets are getting in them. And then one for flour. I just think they're really cute and they're matching and just really cute and really pretty. All right, and then some stuff to fix our couch, because again, kind of is ruining it. Guys, it's been a few days and it's been a while since I've gone to go visit Iroh because the weather has just been so bad, and I was pet sitting and it just wasn't a good time. But now I can finally see him after like 2 weeks of not seeing him. He doesn't mind. I'm gonna go, I'm gonna give him a nice brush, probably just gonna do stuff on the ground. You know, it's been so long, I don't wanna ask him to ride because it's not his most favorite thing to do. He loves to do groundwork, positive reinforcement, trick training. But all the snow's pretty much melted, so that's nice. But anyways, a couple updates, really not that much to report. I started pet sitting again. I don't remember if I said that. But like my entire March is already booked. My April is pretty booked. I think I can fit one more house sit in April. Like this month I had a weekend pet sit, and then I have over a week long pet sit for a good friend of mine, their family, which is right down the road, super easy. I love pet sitting for them, so that should be great. So that's pretty much like all of my March is booked with pet sitting. And then April, I'm pet sitting for a week for a dog that I know. Super, super sweet dog, like the sweetest dog ever, so that'll be good. And I'm trying to only accept like 1 to 2 pet sits, especially week-long ones, in every month, because you know it can be tough being away from home, and thankfully I have Brian here. But I mean, the one that I'm doing this month for my friend is they're not overnights, they're just drop-ins, but I do quite a few during the day. But like overnight, where you actually have to stay overnight every day, that's tough. I did have to raise my rates and adjust based on what people around here are charging, which is actually quite a decent sum of money, because staying overnight at someone's house, it's a big deal, you know, it's a lot of work. And for the amount of time that you spend there, even having high rates, it doesn't really even. It is a good side thing for me to do, especially with like inflation and just, God, that's another thing that I wanted to talk about. Just like meat prices and buying raw food for the pets has been a little bit tricky this past month or two. past like 3 months, honestly. Like every time, I love my pet carnivore. That is my favorite, like #1 go-to place to get grinds for the ferrets. Just the past few months, they have not had the grinds that I need for my animals, and it's been really difficult. Like I've had to go elsewhere. I do a little bit of Frankenprey here and there. I had to go to the Asian market. Like it's just, it's a lot of, it's becoming not a reliable source of food, and that is not their fault, you know. I'm not gonna fault them for that. It's just the way that the world is right now. I can't wait for things to go back to normal. And then also, there's only like more and more raw feeders every day. Like it's only becoming more popular too, so the demand is really high. There's definitely been some considerations of like adding some freeze-dried or dehydrated meats to, not really the ferret's diet, but the dog's diet. It's a pretty penny, just like, because I usually buy like ground beef from the grocery store for him, and I mean it's always been expensive, but it's really expensive right now. So figuring that out has been kind of a hassle, and like the only grinds that I can get off of my pet carnivore due to Momo's allergies are like the chicken, duck, rabbit, turkey, muskrat, and beaver. Muskrat and beaver are almost always in stock, but that's not their favorite by any means. And duck hasn't been in stock for months. I mean, at least it will come in stock, but then it'll be bought out very quickly. Chicken isn't in stock, rabbit's not in stock. It's just turkey, beaver, and muskrat. And you know, I can't make a meal plan out of that. So I did have to spend the extra money to make an order with Raw Feeding Miami. I do like their grinds. I think I got chicken, duck, goose, guinea hen. I got some raw milk. I think cow kefir I got, and some salmon, because I really do like their salmon, and the ferrets love their salmon too. But like, that was quite a bit more. I mean, not like a ton more, but you know, and their shipping tends to be a lot longer. They're a lot, even though my pet carnivore is really far away, their shipping is pretty quick, whereas with Raw Feeding Miami down in Florida, it does take them quite a while sometimes to get here. Like sometimes it takes them like just a week to process the order, whereas like my pet carnivore Hair Today, you know, I would have had the order that week usually, depending on what time I order, what day I order. I don't really like to always switch companies all the time with them, because it does kind of but it does like throw them off a little bit for a couple days, and their poops might be a little bit weird, and I don't really like to do that often. But you know, gotta do what you gotta do right now. I mean, times are tough. Things are really expensive. Like, I don't fault anyone for adding freeze-dried or dehydrated meat to the diets of their ferrets right now, because it's tough, you know? That's what's happening. I guess I'll see you guys at the barn. I don't know how much I'll film. Like, I'm kind of worried that the cold is gonna mess up my camera.